Today I'm going to discuss the most important poem is Georgian period in English literature. The Georgian period of English literature is the most important period when lots of historical things happening in the English literature. In this paragraph he comes to know that how the things happening in this period. The Georgian era was a period in the British history from the 1740s to 1830 to 1837, named after the Hanoverian English George I, George II, George III, and George V. George IV. The definitions of the Georgian era is often extended to include the relatively short reign of the William IV, which ended with his death in 1837. Hmm. So basically, in the Georgian era was a period in the British history from the 1714 to and 1830 to 1837, named after the Hanoverian King George I, George II, George III, George IV. The definition of the Georgian era is often extended to include the relatively short reign of the William IV, which ended with his death in 1837. In the next paragraph, the Georgian era started in 1740 with the King George I. He was not English by the birth. Which country was his homeland? Germany. King George II came to the throne in 1727. Which piece of music did the Handel write especially for his coronation? Zadok the priest. Zadok the priest. What was the King George II the last English to do? Be born outside the United Kingdom. Be born outside the United Kingdom. King George II was succeeded by the George III. He suffered from the intermittent bouts of the madness. What hypothesis was put forward in the 1960s to explain these prophyria? Prophyria. The King George III disapproved of the lifestyle of his brother after one of them made a marriage of which he strongly disapproved. Which new law did he insist on? These laws said that members of the royal family could not marry without the consent, consent of the sovereign. Royal Marriage Act 1722. George III was the king during the American Revolution. After the Boston Tea Party, the British Parliament introduced the various measures which enraged the American colonists. What did they call these? Intro in Intolerable Act. Intolerable Act. King George V ascended the throne in January 1820 on the death of his father. However, he had been reigning these 1811 due to the King George III and ill health. Although married, he was estranged from his wife and refused to allow her to attend his coronations. What was her name? Caroline of Brunswick. Caroline of Brunswick. During the period which King George IV was Prince Regent, male fashion became very important. Who was the major trend setter in deciding and what men wore? Bjorn Bormel. During the period when the King George IV was Prince Regent, male fashion became Very important. Who was the major trend setter in deciding what men wore? Beyond Burmel. In George's time, it became fashionable to visit the spa towns from the Hell region. People would drink the mineral water in special pump room and socialize in the evenings of the following, which was a popular place for taking the water bath. The Georgian era saw a momentous change. America became independent. Napoleon was defeated. One important event took place after the death of the George IV, the era of William IV. Which one was it? Abolitions of slavery in most of the British Empire. So these are the most important questions related to the Georgian period in English literature. So while you are mm, doing your MCQs objective questions and yeah, or otherwise a long type question related to the George period, you have to remember all these most important points which are very important. So however we comes to know that by the reading of this paragraph how the Georgian era was a period in the British history from the 1714 to 14th C and 1830 to 1837, named after the heroine King George I, II, III, and IV. The definition of the Georgian era is often extended to include the relatively short reign of the William IV, which ended with his death in 1837. The Georgian era started in 1714 with the King first, and he was not the king by birth. Which country was his homeland? Germany. King George II came to the throne in 1727. Which piece of the music did the Handel write especially for his coronation? Jodak the Priest. What was the King George II, the last English king to be born outside the kingdom, United Kingdom? King George II was succeeded by the King George III. He suffered from the intermittent bout of madness. What hypothesis was put forward in the 1960 to explain these porpy, porphyria? King George III disapproved of the lifestyle of his brother after one of them made a marriage of which he strongly disapproved, which newly lauded. He insisted on this law said that members of the royal family could not marry without the consent of the sovereign. So, Royal Marriage Act 1772. The George III was the king during the American Revolution. After the Boston Tea Party and the American Parliament introduced the various measures which enraged the American colonists. And what did they call this? Intolerable Act. The King George IV ascended the throne in January 1822 on the death of his father. However, he had been the regent since 1811 due to King George III's and ill health. Although married, he was estranged from his wife and refused to allow her to attend his coronations. What was her name? Caroline of the Brunswick. During the period when King George IV was prince and regent, male fashion became very important. Who was the major trend setter in deciding what men wore? Beau Burmel. In Burmel, in the Georgian time, it became fashionable to visit the spa town. From the healthy reason, people would drink the mineral water in the special pump room and socialize in the evening of the flowing, which was a popular place for taking the water bath. The Georgian era saw the momentous change. American becomes independent. Napoleon was defeated. One important event took place after the death of the Georgian IV. In the era of the William IV, which one was it? Abolition of the slavery in most of the British Empire. So I hope you like this video, which is very important according to examination point of views. Thank you so much.